Hello. It has been a while since I uploaded on this channel. I am sorry I've been busy, but please make sure to like and subscribe. I'm normally doing VOD reviews and some post-game commentary. Today, I did a how to play Demacia guide on my channel. So I thought what would pair really nicely is me going through a Demacia game. Now, obviously, it's going to be a little bit of a high roll game. I don't have the most VODs prepared, but I'm going to try and be more consistent on this channel. Upload daily for the next week or so, ideally, because I have quite a few VODs I've collected playing offline. But anyways, let's go through it. So this one's going to be a Demacia game, which we'll see how it goes. Obviously, check Void, check Ionia every single game start. But this one's going to be pretty obvious because I'm going to basically have a really good spot for Sona reroll, and that's what's going to end up happening. But as you can see, a lot of times when I start the game, I'm going to hold on to the Invokers as well as the Sona, because I think that's going to work out pretty well in a lot of these boards. I'm not a big fan of Jinx. I could hold on to Void and play around Void. That's why I'm holding on to this Malzahar for now. But the idea is that if you can hit like a lot of Sona's Jarvans early, you can play Sona reroll. If you don't hit a lot of Sona Jarvans early, then you can still play around level 8 Demacia, which is really consistent and generally pretty strong. Ooh, do I hold on to the Jinx here? I guess I hold on to the Jinx because I don't have items. Okay, I should have maybe held on to a Nivea, but then I would have to sell the Jinx. I'm not a big fan of Jinx. I'm surprised I held on to her. I was probably just like checking something on Discord. Because now I have the Sona upgrade, so it's obviously going to be a Demacia game. Whatever, small mistakes. It be what it be. But here, I should definitely be selling some of these 3 costs, because I'm probably going to play around Sona, which means I won't really be able to play around either of the other 2 3 costs. So I can maybe make Econ here, especially since Sona, I think, can solo these if it's a Sona 2. So I could have maybe made Econ here if I was playing super greedy, but it's fine. Actually, no, I would have to find another unit, which is whatever. Anyway, sell one, buy the other ones. That's fine. Looking for augment here. Basically, I have a good spot for Sona. Pandora's items may be in a worst case scenario, because then I can at least make tempo items because I don't really have a Sona item right now. But then I see Demacia forever because I roll 1 first because I don't think I need it. Warpath I also don't like. It feels very bait. Unless your lobby is Glue Eater, so I don't enjoy Warpath that much. Demacia Forever, basically, it constantly scales your units, and I'm playing around Sona early game, so it makes a lot of sense for me to just like do this. I get a Demacia opener. These units will scale. I can fix my items off carousel, and then with those good items, I can then play around Sona reroll ideally. So here I already started with 3 Sonas. There's another Sona in my shop. I'm 5 Sonas, so I'm basically halfway to Sona 3. So this is a really good Sona spot. When I'm debating whether I'm going to play Sona or whether I'm going to play vertical Demacia, this is what I mean by having a good Sona spot. Right here, I have 5 Sonas. I haven't rolled a single ounce of gold yet. This is a really good Sona spot. Now, obviously, I don't have good Sona items, right? So that's why it's not like the most amazing Sona spot. But this is a really obvious, like, you can play Sona from here. And I know that sounds really, like, whatever. But obviously, like, I try and hear my content for both beginners and advanced players. But this is what I mean. If you're a beginner and you want to ask me what a good Sona spot is, because a lot of times I'll say I don't play these rerolls unless I have a good spot. This is what I mean by a good spot. I'm making 10. I'm 5 Sonas, 0 gold rolled. And I can just play around these units. Now, as you can see, somebody else is playing Demacia. They have the Xin Zhao augment. Do I give a shit? No. Because I have 5 Sonas. That's why I would play this. Now, if I don't have 5 Sonas, I want to have really good Sona items. Because you have to have one or the other. Here, like, I'm going to lose every round anyways. And you usually don't want to do that with some rerolls a lot of the time. Because you want to be strong early game. But here, as you can see, on the side of my bench, I don't have a single AP item. So, because I don't have a single AP item, I need to fix that on carousel. I need to get a tier on carousel. I need to get a rod on carousel. I need to get items that will turn these into good Sona items. Now, what are good Sona items? Pretty much anything. I think Gunblade is good. And I think Jewel Gauntlet Nasher is a good build. I know a lot of people go double Archangels. I think that's more of a meme. I think it's really hard to make Shred and Anti-Heal if you spend your components on the double Archangels, right? Because your tiers are going to be committed to that. And your rods are going to be committed to that. So I don't want to be too controversial. I know I just offended somebody and they're going to get really pissed off at me because I said Archangels isn't good. Every time I say I don't like Archangels, I have like 100 fucking people telling me I'm a moron. You know, you could trust yourself or you can trust me. I hit Grandmaster every set. I don't know what to tell you. But with Archangels, the main issue that I have is that if I use the tier and the rod on the Archangels with the Sona, a lot of times when I do that, I have trouble making a Void Staff and I have trouble making a Spark and I have trouble making a Morello, all of which are really good and often essential items, right? Think about this guy who's playing Slayers. If I don't have Anti-Heal against this guy who's playing Slayers, I might as well just quit the game. So it's gonna be hard to do that. Obviously I can make a Sunfire Cape that doesn't use those components, but then I'm using up a tank item, which isn't a really good item, right? Or it's not a good tank item late game, so it's not that great, right? But same thing, if I want to make a Void Staff or I want to make a Spark, those components get used, it makes it a little bit awkward. So whenever I look at these types of comps, like these Sona comps, these AP lines, right? Right now there's not like a really good AP flex meta, but I'm usually pretty good at AP flex. So my general take, if we're trying to think about AP flex, like let's say I just want to start the game, I want to make random AP items, and I want to call it a day. I want to use those AP items. Sorry, my hair, I didn't gel it. I don't gel my hair when I'm staying inside because I don't go outside. So then whenever I do these videos, I look like shit because my hair isn't gelled. So I just look like this, right? And it's like, you know what I mean? But my hair is cut in a way that it's supposed to be like, you know, combed back, like the sexy Italian that I am, you know, or whatever you think I look like. But it's just like, anyways, I digress. The main thing with the Sona and AP lines in general is that you want to have your items used in such a way that you can still make the utility items, because a lot of the best utility items for AP units use the same components as the damage items for AP units. That's why a lot of times when you're flexing around AP, it's a lot easier to play around a Jewel Gauntlet. It's not because crit is broken, blah blah blah, crit is whatever. It's because if you make a Jewel Gauntlet, you leave the tiers open for mana generation, and without the mana generation you can still make a Nashor's, which is a mana generation that doesn't use a tier. So then you have an open tier for a frontline item, which, like for example, Garen likes Anima Visage, so then you can make Anima Visage, or sorry, Spirit Visage, whatever they call it nowadays, Spirit Visage for Garen. That's a tier that you want for your frontline. Oh, you're playing Swain, you want Protector's Vow for your Swain, that's another tier item. Oh, I want Void Staff because it's not going to die as fast because Spark is going to be really risky in my frontline. Now I need another tier. Well, if I used all my tiers for Archangels, which is a damage item, where the fuck do I find the rest of my components for? It's like, it makes it really complicated. That's why that's the main thing. So if I'm trying to give a takeaway for the beginning of the game, you're going to notice that I'm not going to prioritize Archangels here. I'm probably going to prioritize Gunblade because I really like Gunblade, and I'm just going to go for that. Now here, I'm looking for something that helps out my board. It is the encounter that gives you your augments really early. I'm basically committed to playing Sona Reroll. I usually recommend when you encounter this LeBlanc encounter, whereas all your augments in round 2 or round 3, like you have all the augments earlier, it helps to commit to a line way earlier. Not because it's like degenerate, just because if you know what you're playing, it's easier to pick augments that make sense with your board. For example, I know that I'm playing Sona, I'm not even going to consider lifting competition because there isn't a Demacia that has a bruiser trait. It's useless to me, right? Stuff like that helps a lot. And similarly here, I want to take something that fills up my items. So I look at this and it's like, I'm going to use my rod for either Jewel Gauntlet or Gunblade, and if I have a second rod, I want to make another Jewel Gauntlet or Gunblade. So I'm not going to be making Morello for a really long time. Something like Feed the Flames is pretty good because it gives my whole team Omnivam, which can just make my board really tanky, which synergizes with Demacia. If I was winning rounds, Thorn-Plated Armor would also make sense because that's a really strong early game augment because the Bramble Vest is hard to deal with in the early game rounds. But here, I get a Sunfire Cape. Now, I know I just said I don't really like Sunfire Cape, blah, 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 blah. Here, it's good, right? Because it gives me a frontline item. It can help me to win some of these rounds, turn the ship around. I lost a little bit so I can get my rod. I took rod off Carousel because I can go for Gunblade or Jewel Gauntlet. And here I take Gunblade because I think it's more flexible. I think of the Demacia units, Gunblade is good on all of them and just good in general. So that with the Sunfire Cape, my board's gonna be hard to deal with, and it's not gonna be very easy for everybody to die. It's gonna be it's just gonna be a good board in general. So I take an augment, right? Augments make sense. I have scaling Demacia on all my units. If I can make items for multiple units, that's really good. So taking an item augment makes sense because I'm going to scale all my Demacians. So if I can just itemize everybody, that would be the perfect world, right? If I had an augment that gave me like 10 TGs, that would also be pretty good here because my Demacians will all hit like a truck late game. And I'm just holding on to Demacian units, hopefully going to upgrade them and make things work out a little bit later. Makes sense so far? Well, now we have one more augment to pick, so let's see what we get. We're looking for either a damage, a combat, or items in general. All of those will be great. Something else that's pretty nice, Expect Unexpectedness, I think, in general, gives a lot of value for what it is. And it also gives a lot of value right now. You still get the stage 2 cash out, and then you'll get the other cash outs later. But if you look here, the only thing that I saw Coronation, right? Or sorry, Cursed Crown. It's not Cursed Crown, right? I'm losing rounds. It's just a meme. This augment is absolute dog shit. You should almost never click it. It's good in very, very specific spots, but very rarely is it good. Starter kit, not that good. Lucky Gloves could be good, but I don't it's not that much value for prismatic because it just gives me 1 thieves gloves, and I want like items or I want combat power, so I don't particularly enjoy lucky gloves here. So I roll lucky gloves. I think that's a fair roll because I don't have somebody to put on anyways. Now it's being level up and expect unexpectedness. Expect unexpectedness, it can give you lots of stuff. It can give you components, it can give you items, it can give you gold. It's just generally good as a prismatic. It's like kind of like a default that it's not necessarily going to be the most broken thing you can hit, but it's like you can't go wrong with it. That's the thing. It's not risky. It's very risk averse, even though it's very random. So I just take this. I'm happy with it, right? If it dropped me some 4 cost, that's gold. If it dropped me some gold, look, I got dropped a bunch of gold. That's fine, right? It's going to help me to level, right? It's econ. Econ is econ. And getting it this late in the round isn't that bad because at least I still get it, right? I still get it on this stage. I'll get it on stage 3. I'll get it on stage 4. So I still get all my cash outs with it. It's fine. So I get a bunch of gold here. That's cool. We're probably going to roll for the Sona 3-star on level 4, excuse me. We're probably not going to go for Jarvan 3 here because we don't have a lot of Jarvans. The Jarvan doesn't matter because if we can make it to level 8, we'll just play Garen. Call it a day. Right? That's easy. Call it a day. We just play Garen. Who cares, right? We're all good to go. It's all nice. Everything's wonderful. The world is great. But anyways, let's just see how this goes. We also are contested on Demacia, so we have to be careful, right? The Demacia player that's rolling for Xin Zhao might just hold on to a bunch of, Sonas and Jarvans and stuff like that, so we might have a little bit of a rough time. Obviously here we just full loss streak. It's just because my items aren't fully together. This board's very good at turning the ship around once you hit everything. So once I have Sona 3 and I have like an upgraded front line like a Xin Zhao 2, Jarvan 2, that type of stuff, we'll be really strong, we'll be really reliable. One thing you might see on my board, I'm playing for Demacia, yes. I know I'm not playing a defender. I don't really care about winning the rounds right now because I was losing the rounds anyways. So I'm just making sure that I'm scaling my units, right? Scaling this Poppy and this Xin Zhao so that they're threats late game because they're gaining HP and they're gaining stats. Now, it might not seem like a lot of stats. You might read the Demacia Forever Augment and think to yourself, well, that's fucking stupid. You only gain 4 HP. Who cares? It's over time, right? Especially with these 1-star units, it's a lot. It not only gives the HP, it also gives the stats. So it's actually really powerful. Because late game, like when you get to stage 4, stage 5, this Sona, this Jarvan, this Xin Zhao, even if they're like random shitters, they already get a lot of armor from their base kit, right? Demacia just gives a shit ton of armor. So because they already get a lot of armor from Demacia, the small HP scaling is like way more important. Because like you can imagine, right? If you have a tank that has like 10,000 armor, but they only have 1 HP, then they're going to die to 1 hit anyways, because they're going to get hit, and it's going to do 1 damage, and they're going to die. And likewise, if you have a unit that has like 100,000 HP, and they have like 0 armor and magic resist, they won't die in 1 hit, but they're still going to get melted pretty easily, because they don't have the resistances to reduce the amount of incoming damage that they have. However, if you balance the two things, if you give somebody a bunch of HP and a bunch of armor, even if it's not the most HP, and even if it's not the most armor, but if you balance those things a little bit, what ends up happening a lot of the time is that the unit just becomes an absolute menace. It becomes an absolute, like, you know what I mean? Because what happens is, like, you're reducing the amount of damage you take because of the armor that you have, and then if you combine that with the HP, now you're making it hard to overall kill the unit. Then they get a lot of casts off, they become really hard to kill, and things become, like, really absurd really fast. Now here, as you can see, I'm going for a crit build. I didn't get dropped any tiers, so I'm not going for Archangels, right? I have open bow. I'm going to try and go for tier or rod on carousel, make a jewel gauntlet, or make a static shiv. Sorry, not static shiv. It's called a void staff now. And then that way, I have my utility dealt with. And ideally, I can make a spark as well. So what I'm going to look for in the best case scenario is a, what's it called? A rod on carousel. Right? And this is what I was saying before with like flexible AP items, right? It doesn't matter if my Sona has Archangels, right? It doesn't matter if my Sona has Dual Gauntlet. As long as I have a coherent build. I have Gunblade, I have Nashers, I have Dual Gauntlet, that's fine, right? If I don't hit Dual Gauntlet, things will be really bad, but based on the items that I had, I need to have some form of mana generation, I have to have some item on the Sona, right? I'm obviously going to make the Nashers Tooth with those components, and we can call it a day. I have 1 tank item. I'm keeping these cloaks open. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do with them. I don't want to make a Dragon Claw because I think it's a little bit of a waste, and I don't want to make a Stone Plate because I don't really like Stone Plate as an item. So I'd rather just keep these components floating because I think I'm going to win these rounds anyways. But I'm pretty sure Sona 3 with the Gunblade and 4 Demacia in, I should be relatively strong. Ideally, I can find a Vayne very soon so I can get 5 Demacia and start scaling the Vayne. but the Sona will be hard to deal with just because she heals so much, right? Even without the Archangels, she's still going to heal and do AoE damage. As you can see right now, when there's only 3 units left, Sona will hit 2 adjacent enemies. So she's going to snipe the backline before this Kiana even dies, right? Because she's going to hit adjacent extra enemies. So she does a lot of chip damage to the entire board. And you have to understand as well, Archangel's a lot less valuable in this build because I get scaling AP and AD, right? I have Demacia forever. So every single round, every time I do 3 rallies, which is per round, I'm getting 1.5 AD, 1.5 AP permanent. So basically by the end of the game, it's going to be as if I had an Archangels anyways. And as long as I have the crit to scale that, it's going to be really powerful. Make sense? Should make sense a little bit, right? The same thing applies. The same way I was talking about tanks, right? If you have a bunch of AP, you don't want more AP. You want something to scale that, because if you add more AP, it's like an additive increase, right? But if you add, like, unless the additive increase becomes so big that it's a multiplicative increase, but then you want to multiply it. So if you multiply that by crit, then you hit like a truck, and that can work really well. In the stats, by the way, a lot of stuff that I'm saying, you might think, oh, this guy's a fucking idiot. He didn't make Archangels on Sona. I know somebody's gonna say that, and that's just like a call out. We just know you're a bad player if you say that. If you look at the stats really deeply and you do a lot of different builds and stuff, and you look at a lot of the different variations of these comps, you'll actually notice that like these types of builds perform better sometimes. And a lot of times it's because of item economy. You kind of have to filter out like a lot of like the bullshit. But that's like a thing that really matters in TFT. Because like having your items work out in a way that you can get like utility at the same time is usually more important than not. Also, here I might take, I wouldn't be surprised if I took Lux here just to start scaling the Lux. But I'm probably going to take Rod here. I think it's just way more important to complete my items. Because I can use like way more rods, right? I can use a rod here, and if I get dropped another rod, I can still make Spark, and that's still fine. I wonder if I can show you guys the stats on this stuff, but I don't want to be too risque with the stats. Because, like, it's hard to filter everything all the time. Like, what are the best performing trios? I think, like, they're all, here's a good example. I can just show you that, like, this is what I mean by they're all kind of fine. I think I talked about it today as well. Here, I'll try and show you guys. So, I'm not digging into the stats, by the way. I'm just, like, kind of showing it. Very, 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 very roughly. Let me find it. Here, window capture. Right? So here we're just looking at Sona. I'm going to put 3-star Sona. And we're just looking at the placements on different builds. As you can see, Archangel shows up. Lichbane shows up because this is really good. You'll see double Archangel shows up. But a lot of these builds, even utility builds, like Archangels is there. But there's like, it's not essential. You know what I mean? There's a lot of these things, even though they don't have like, you know, the highest placement or the highest average, when you start to get into like more of the average builds, like this is like the common Sona one, you'll see the average is like a 4.0, and then like this one averages a 4.03. You know what I mean? Like, look, this is played a lot more, and this one's played a lot less, so obviously this one's statistically more significant. But what I'm trying to say is, this to this is fucking negligible, right? Trust me. And if you have this, and you don't have utility items, this is way better. That's the point I'm trying to make. And I know that might like offend somebody or make somebody really, but they're all like very fucking similar, right? And obviously you can sample size it out, obviously, and stuff like that. And maybe one has like a better win percentage, I think. But it's like, it doesn't really matter. As long as you have a coherent build, the unit will be fine. That's the thing, right? So it matters way more about like tempoing and slamming your items. Like right now, I'm going to win every single round for like majority of the game right now. Because I have 3 items on this Sona. Even though I don't have a single Archangels. Obviously, if I had an Archangels, I'll make an Archangels if I really have to. But now, if I get dropped a tier, I can make a Void Stab. If I get dropped a Rod, I can make a Spark. If I was sitting here waiting for Archangels, I wouldn't be able to make my utility right after this. So as soon as I get dropped either of those components, I make the utility items and I'm good to go. Right? I can now chew through the front line. I have a good option to make things really powerful. You know what I mean? Hopefully that makes sense. I'm trying to make this as informative as possible. I'm not trying to insult anybody. I'm just trying to, you know, I'm trying to address issues that I see or I have questions of with some. Also, I don't know how I lost to this, man. Oh, Legion of Threes. That's why. He has Legion of Threes. I was looking at it, I was like, why is that Nautilus so tanky? Yeah, it was Legion of Threes. Legion of Threes is very good this patch. Because the bonus that you get is really good with the 3 cost, but also the emblems are really strong. So it's not really a low roll. Here I'm just checking stats. Trying to see how many AP and ADs I've been getting for Demacia forever. We can skip a little bit here. Because basically what I'm going to do is I'm rich enough to basically roll between the expected and unexpected is giving me a lot of econ and playing the Demacia units. I have a lot of ability to just like push levels and tempo and play very aggressive here. So I'm just going to go straight to level 8 here. Like I said, you don't stick around trying to find Jarvan. And then as you can see, I basically made the Declaw Bramble because I got dropped all tank components. I didn't get dropped a single rod or tier. Also, I want to point out, I didn't get dropped a rod or tier the entire game, which was very unlucky. A lot of times like this, wouldn't it be a death sentence? Imagine if I told you, I'm going to play Sona without a single rod or a single tier. This is why this comp is good, because if you can play flexibly with your AP items, just making your items is way more important. No tiers, no rods. I took rod off first carousel, rod off second carousel. And that's how I made my items. And I'm still have 3-item tank with anti-heal, 3-item backline unit, and I'm just still waiting for either tier or rod. Tier or rod to make Shiv or Spark. And we're good to go. Are they the best tank items? No. Is it the best Sona build? Probably not. But look, we're 40 gold. We're 64 HP. We're basically going to roll here until at least 1 Garen and 1 Lux. We need to have a Garen and a Lux just because we want to stack them for the Demacia forever. Right? We want the Garen to start getting HP because it's going to be really important. So here I'm just going to roll really aggressively. A lot of times people ask like how deep you have to roll. Yes, I'm going to win rounds, but not having the Garen is going to hurt my max cap. So I really want to have at least a Garen here to stabilize my board or to make it really strong. So I'm going to roll a little bit. I sold Swain because I don't know why I sold Swain. I think it's because I wanted to play for the Xin Zhao. I didn't want to sell the Warden. And in my head, I said to myself, I'd rather hold the Shyvanas than the Swain. I think Swain might be better than Shyvana just to get Arcanist active. But I think because I have Shyvana pair, maybe I high roll a Shyvana off Carousel or something. And then with Shyvana, I would play a Shyvana 2 over a Swain, obviously. But until I, the only reason I'm not playing Shyvana right now, I could play her over a Demacia unit, but I just want them to scale a little bit. But I'm playing a Warden for the Xin Zhao, because Xin Zhao is my main tank. He's been scaling the entire game from stage 2, so he's extremely tanky, and he has my 3 tank items, right? Until I hit Garen, I'm just playing Nautilus, because he's Warden and Juggernaut for my other Demacia units. And then I played, I found a Zillion. Zillion can help me get to level 9 eventually. But here we're still going to roll. We're looking for 1 Garen. Exactly. Now we have Garen. I could roll for Lux too, because I'm paired on Lux. I could stop rolling here though. Like right now, it wouldn't be like I should have stopped rolling. I'm definitely over rolling, right? I tend to roll a lot more, especially in panic situations. I should have stopped rolling because I can't buy the Garen anyways. Now I have to sell the Nautilus too, when I could have just played Nautilus over something and just like call it a day. I think Garen 1 is tankier than the other units, but I'm definitely over rolling a little bit. Oh, you know what it is? I want to unlock Galio. That's the thing. If I hit Lux 2 or Garen 2, I think I unlock Galio. Yeah, I need one of these upgraded. So if you look at my bench, Poppy, Lux, or Garen, I think if I upgrade any of them, I unlock Galio. So right now, I'm 1 star off Galio. That's why I'm rolling. I'm not rolling for Garen, Lux. I'm rolling for Poppy. Because I'm rolling for 3 different things, that's why I'm rolling so deep. And I technically have a Shyvana pair if I high roll the Shyvana. So because my whole bench is paired, that's why I'm rolling so deep. It's not necessarily the greatest thing to do, by the way. But that explains. I'm a little bit happy with my decision making. I forgot that I don't have Galio. In my head, I thought I had Jarvan 3, even though I said you don't have to roll for it. But in my head, I thought like, oh yeah, if I have Jarvan, like you get Galio anyway, so who cares? But Galio makes a huge difference on this board because having the extra spot and scaling the Galio matters, right? Because Galio also scales with Demacia forever. So if I don't have the Galio, all of these turns I don't have Galio, right, you have to roll for the Poppy or the Lux or the Garen. If you hit any of them upgraded, you call it a day. You know what I mean? Here, I want to take tier, ideally. If I don't get tier, I would take Rod. If I don't get those, I would take Lux. So tier is gone. Rod is the next important thing just for utility. Rod is gone, so that's not good. And now I would like to ideally take the Lux if nobody takes Lux. And then at this point, we just fucking jump off a bridge, because what the fuck do you want me to do with these components? But it's probably just tier. Tier I can make Kraken now, or sorry, bow I can make Kraken. I can play around the Vayne as being like a secondary carry, right? Because I have Kraken. Yeah, now I'm paired on Vayne, so now I just have to roll. I think I might have to sell Shyvana at one point, because not having the Galio scaling is really stressful. Because Galio scaling makes a huge difference. Like going level 9, by the way, doesn't matter that much. You might look at this and be like, you're wasting so much gold, blah, 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 blah. Whether I make it to 9 or not, my board is basically complete. When I'm playing 7 Demacia, they're all scaling. If I can scale Galio, that's really the only thing I can do besides like maybe trying to play for like a Ziggs, right? But there's not many ways to cap this board. So I might as well just roll until I hit one of the... I just need one upgrade, right? Poppy, Vayne, Garen, or Lux upgraded, and I hit Galio, and as soon as I get Galio, he starts scaling. So that's why I'm pressure rolling here. And then we still need Spark, right? We still need Spark or Void Staff in order to optimize our damage on this Sona. But we should be strong in this, right? 7 Demacia, huge spike with the Sona 3. She just does a shit ton amount of damage. Fights are over pretty fast. It's not too bad, but it's okay. But if you don't have Sona, you're the thing is, like, even though I have Sona 3, a lot of times, ideally, you also have Lux 2 at this point, right? You could imagine a similar spot you would have Lux. Obviously, I high rolled the other stuff. Here, I don't care about Poppy anymore, so I'll probably just sell Poppy and buy Garen 2. I'm just debating how important it is or if I sell Shyvana, but it's probably just sell Poppy and call it a day. Come on. Yeah, there we go. But what I mean to say is that, like, your gameplay looks very similar if you're playing Demacia without as Lux carry and not Sona carry. You'd have similar items. You would have them on Lux instead, right? I think Lux 1 is probably better than Sona 2. But you would just play the same board. And I think that you should still roll really aggressively on this stage just to make sure that you hit your stability point, right? Because Demacia, like I said, is not... You can win a lot of games with Demacia, but it's not like a guaranteed win ever. Like, it's not like, oh, if I make it to 9, I can cap really high. Because the problem is, like, Galio 2 isn't that important and isn't that strong. And especially in this match where I'm scaling with Demacia forever, it makes a lot of sense for me to roll here just to get the Galio earlier. Now, if you're not paired on your units, you don't roll. And if you are stable, that you're winning most of the rounds, you can greed your gold, right? So here, for example, I'm 64 HP, right? And now I'm 53 HP. I'm basically second highest HP in the lobby. Being second highest HP in the lobby, I could have not rolled a single time on stage 4, and my outcome would have been entirely the same. Because Demacia is really stable with Garen 1, Lux 1, or Sona 3 or whatever. The only reason, like I said, I'm rolling so aggressively is to unlock the Galio to start him scaling. Right? Now, like I said, you could just wait and greed your gold, and then it just makes it more efficient because you're earning interest. Basically, I lost, like, you know, 10, 15 gold of interest by rolling every single turn to 0. You can argue that that's incorrect, but for me, it's like I care way more about the power spike, and I think my only win condition is scaling my Galio. Right? Not win condition, but, like, my win condition is A, having enough HP that I can scale with Demacia forever, and B, having a Galio such that I could reach a high cap late game with the Galio fully scaled up. Here, I can just make some Lux items. That would be pretty nice. And I could also make some Vayne items. I can complete the Vayne items here. But anyways, I go for Spirit Visage, IE. So IE is for Vayne. Spirit Visage is really good on Garen, so I'm okay with these 3 items. Dragon Claw I don't really care about, but Galio scales with Dragon Claw, so I just throw it on the Galio. Call it a day. Bang! Galio has some items now. So I'm working on 3 Vayne items. I put the Shiv on the, what's his name? On the Zillion, because he spreads it a lot better. He hits, like, when he casts, he hits everybody. And now with the Zillion, I should be able to make it to 9 really fast anyways. Because all of these turns, I've had Invoker Zillion earning XP. So it's going to cost me like 10 to 20 gold cheaper to make it to level 9 anyways. So I should be able to cap my board out anyways. Now, my Garen is going to be impossible to kill. Because he has healing, he has everything. And we're just going to do some damage here. And I think Sona's going to one-tap this guy. I don't think he can kill the Sona in time. Oh, this one's going to be close. Nice. Good job, Sona. There we go. But so far, pretty smooth game. It was a little bit high roll at how fast I hit the Sona. Obviously, if you don't hit the Sona fast enough, you have less gold to roll on level 8. And then you might have to greed a little bit more. And then here, once you have the Galio, by the way, I'm not sure if this is correct, but this Xin Zhao's been scaling the whole game, so I'm kind of down to just play 8 Demacia. I know it doesn't look aesthetic, and probably I can play Swain in, but I'd rather just level for Swain and call it a day. Because Swain gives Juggernaut. Yes, it's not that great. It's not that important. But he does give the stun, which is really good. And Arcanist, which is really good. So Swain is definitely better than Jin Zhao on paper. But Jin Zhao also stuns. He stuns only one unit, though. So it's not obviously not as good as Swain. And he's a little bit of a nuisance, right? Pay attention to this Jin Zhao. You're going to see he does live for quite a long time. Right? Look at this guy. This guy's level 10. I don't know what he's trying to do. He's playing level up Yordle with a Zillion 2 or whatever. The Jin Zhao lived for half the fight. Right? And that's with 0 items. So it's like I don't want to sell the I'm not going to sell the Jin Zhao. I feel like, you know, the HP that he has, he's pretty reliable just to have on the board. And then Vayne also pumps, right? Because we have a Vayne too. So that's also great for us. It's been a while since I did these VOD reviews. I'm already out of breath, man. I don't know how I used to do this on a daily basis. Holy. Hopefully the gameplay's not too bad. The only guy that I'm worried about is the guy that's 91 HP Legion of 3s. And that's the only person that I have to deal with later in the game. But I should be able to outcap them because I'm scaling with Demacia forever. Obviously, if you don't have Demacia forever, you don't have the scaling win condition. So a lot of times you're hoping to get to level 9 and play either around a Ziggs as your late game carry, right? A Ziggs 2 with some attack speed items is really, really powerful. Or you want to make it just like a bunch of legendaries. You can always drop to 5 Demacia. If you drop to 5 Demacia, you still get all the benefits of the armor, so your Garen's going to be really, really hard to deal with, and the mana gen. But then you can also drop some of the shitter units that you don't have items for and play legendaries in their place, right? Shyvana, Fiddlesticks, all of those beautiful units could all be really good. But here, this guy's going to start falling off in terms of damage to me. Obviously, he still has room to cap his board. He makes it to level 9, makes it to 5 costs. So far, been a really smooth top 4, right? We obviously rolled a lot on stage 4. We could have greeted our gold and maybe played for like a 3-star or something and win out conditions, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of times, like I said, the scaling that you get with Demacia forever, you just want to hit your units at a reasonable tempo just so that you save HP, right? You make sure that you're strong as fuck, win the rounds, and you're going to make it there anyways, especially with the Zillion. I'm going to be level 9 around the same time as everybody else, no matter what. So we're fine. It's good to go. You know what I mean? Guinsoo, I'm just completing the Vayne items. 3-item Vayne, she's been scaling for a long time. So Vayne is also going to pump some damage. So it's just good. Call it a day. Here, I think Zillion will bring me to level 9 this turn. Yeah, I'm just playing for Swain. This is just, but this is like I said, a lot of them have been playing this game. I'm just trying not to be greedy, right? I feel like there's other players that have really strong win out conditions. I'm just trying to pressure the lobby, right? I don't want either of these players with 10 HP to beat me this turn and put me in a spot where I can't play for first. If everybody gets eliminated, like right now, if I eliminate this guy this turn, then that's one less person to worry about. And then I can use that HP, that's one extra life against a stronger player that gives me more time to scale with Demacia forever. There's not really anybody I'm going for on level 9 besides Zillion 2 and Galio 2. Right, you can obviously play Ziggs in the spot. I'm not saying you can't play Ziggs. You can definitely play Ziggs here, but I just don't have Ziggs items. But I can maybe go like Guinsoo, Shiv, something else on Ziggs, but it's not going to be better than the scaled out Sona. Especially if he's not 2-star. So look here. That's what I mean. I won this fight. If I didn't play Swain, I don't know if it's an Arcanist or Swain stun diff that fight. I would rather not take the chance. Level for the Swain. Now I have 50 HP. This guy's 80 HP. And it's just the duel of fates, you know? Start the fucking Star Wars music. I can't do it because I get demonetized. But just put it on in the background. Right? Put it in the background. That's basically what's going on through my head. Now it's just a 1v1. It's me constantly fighting this guy, trying to crack him open, and him trying to crack me open. Right? Like a beautiful pistachio. So here, I still think I have the upper hand. So basically, I'm trying right now. If I'm going in this matchup, there's two things I have to avoid. One is getting wrapped. There is a chance that Nautilus, Aatrox, or Bel'Veth gets a wrap on me just because there's so much frontline units as a density that they might just like fill up the space, right? And Bessa jumps around, she can grief positioning, and if they can't target anybody, they just jump onto my Sona. The other thing is Swain. I want to not get stunned by Swain. So I'm trying to balance between the two of these things. For example, right here, Rek'Sai jumped forward and Bessa jumped forward. There's a good chance I get wrapped here. Right? As you can see, Nautilus gets to my backline. Now, why did that happen? Because of the Rek'Sai. The Rek'Sai took up the spot where the Nautilus would have targeted the Garen, and now Nautilus is on my backline. This is going to be a very hard fight to win, because now my Sona is fucking stuck over here instead of doing damage over there. Now, obviously, I do have enough frontline units, And Sona has the gunblade, so she does heal up. So we still win this fight. But if that's a Nautilus 3, that's going to be an issue later. So a lot of when you have these jumping around melee units, there's a lot of fight RNG. That's why HP matters a lot. If this is a board that you know you're going up against, you want to have multiple chances, because that could have easily been like, you know, let's say I was 1 HP going for a win out. If I was 1 HP there, it doesn't matter what legendaries I had. If I get wrapped like that, and it was like, let's say it wasn't Nautilus that hit my backline, let's say it was Gangplank that walked up, or Demacia that walked up, somebody that actually does damage, that's it. I just lose the fight for no reason because of fucking Rek'Sai jumping around and shit. So I have to find a way to avoid that. A better way to avoid it is to put the Garen further on the side so that the Garen absorbs more of the damage. You're going to notice in some of the later fights now, I'm going to put Garen on the far edges, either the far left or the far right. Putting him on the far left or the far right makes it so that there's not a unit that dies that forces units to walk around. Right there, the Jarvan died, so then when they had to retarget to the Garen, it made a little bit of an awkward situation. But anyways, I gotta get some rolling done this turn. We're ideally gonna go for like Galio 2, and then I'm gonna try and put some items on other units. Of course, I have Lux 2 now. You could argue that I put the Lux items on the, now that I have more items, I could put them on the Lux. I just kept them on the Zilean because I felt like he spread the effects of the Void Staff a little bit better, but it's fine. We'll just call it a day. And now I have Zilean too, so it's fine. I'm just going to put items on Zilean. I think Lux is stronger than Zilean for the record, but I just don't know for sure. Anyways, I didn't position this fight because I was too busy like rolling for units and stuff. I should have definitely done some sort of adjustment. For some reason, first of all, this guy got rid of Rek'Sai. I don't see Rek'Sai on his board anymore. So now I don't have to worry about the Rek'Sai that griefed him. That was like the only thing I was worried about. So I just queue up into this board. I'm like, wait, things just got better for me. He not only moved his strong units to the opposite side of the board that I don't have to worry about my Sona dying, he also got rid of the only unit that griefed my positioning. I think he played Fiddlesticks instead, or something like that. Fiddlesticks is still good, but he's not going to grief my positioning. And Aatrox I'm not fucking worried about. The unit fucking blows. So whatever that is. But this fight's going to go a lot better for me. I don't expect to lose this one. Oh, maybe... Actually, maybe if the Gangplank gets a wrap. But I don't think so. This one's kind of close. Is it not worse? Is it better? What happened this fight? This fight went worse for me. I guess it was Fiddlestick stun. I don't even know what happened this fight. I think it was probably Fiddlestick stun, right? Yeah, I think I got Fiddlestick stun this fight, right? Or not. Oh, I guess he just killed the Lux fast and I got one less stun off. I expected to win this fight, but either way, what's the takeaway from this fight, guys? The takeaway from this fight is that I should probably be on the same side as the Gangplank, because the Gangplank just wrapped the other side of my backline. I need this Garen to absorb damage more so that my other units can get their cast off a little more effectively. So here, what you're going to notice, I'm going to space out my front line a little bit. I'm probably going to put my Garen and all of my units on this side to try and kill the Gangplank earlier, because the Gangplank just had too much time to heal up and scale a little bit. Because I should win this fight, right? He doesn't have Nautilus 3, and I shouldn't be getting wrapped. But if you saw that fight, it was just weak side. So here, this is what I mean, right? I put the Garen in front of the Gangplank. Now my other units have the chance to like survive and get their ults off, which makes them more of a nuisance. And the Garen doesn't get like focus fired by multiple units really aggressively later in the match. And here, because I have Sona upfront damage anyway, it's not like she has to scale with an Archangels, I'd rather just like delete these units faster. Right? If I kill this Demacia, I kill this what's his name? This Gangplank, this fight should go better. Right? Look, bang. They're all dead. Who cares about this Bel'Veth, right? And as you can see, my other frontline units live long enough. I get the cast off. We're good to go. So that's a round win for me. Right? So far, we're 1-1. Something I didn't like was the time it took to kill those units. The only thing that I can do is I can move this Vayne closer to my units, right? I can move Vayne closer to the Zilean and closer to the Sona. Also, at one point, I think these items are better on the Lux, by the way. It's just that I think Zilean spreads it a little bit faster. So I think if I put those items on Lux, Lux does do more damage. But here, you're going to see I'm going to clump. The Vayne's going to run away anyways, but I just care about the Vayne starting targeting the same group of units. So one improvement I do here is I just move the Vayne closer. Just because, like, as you can see now, this guy adjusted by putting his, the Nautilus is closer, the Ambessa a little bit further away. I care about focus firing down these units. I want my units primarily aiming towards the same targets. That way, my damage isn't spread, and I make sure that the main threats are eliminated, because this guy has a lot of trash on his board, right? Who cares about Alawi? Nobody. right? I care about getting rid of the gangplank, getting rid of the other units as early as possible, right? And obviously, my backline has a lot of damage or has a lot of scaling, sorry, HP and armor because of Demacia forever. So that's really good. Call it a day. Here, there's a Demacia emblem. You might think to yourself, oh my god, Demacia emblem, Demacia forever, take Demacia emblem. No! We take long shot because we have a vein with 3 items. Right? What makes us stronger here? The vein with the 3 items. So we take long shot. Call it a day. Easy clap. Also, the thing that benefits me is the longer this game goes on, the more I scale with Demacia forever. So I'm okay with losing a round or 2 here or there. I just need to I can basically outcap this guy. I have a win condition in the form of every single turn, I'm getting extra AP and extra HP and extra damage. So here, long shot, I can put on somebody else who gives damage amp, which is fine, and I get long shot active for my vein. Now, obviously, like I said before, you could have gone for Ziggs and played towards Ziggs caps in these spots. I just didn't bother with it because I feel like I can win. It's probably bad ethics, but I should have probably dropped Jinzhao for like a Ziggs or something, right? And Ziggs would probably nuke the entire board. The problem is I just felt like I didn't have Ziggs items. Now I do, right? Like now I have Guinsoo, I have Giant Slayer, I have Void Staff. I could have just played those 3 as Ziggs items. The correct thing to do here, if you're watching this and you're like, this guy's an idiot, it is play around Ziggs. Now, this was very early in the patch. I still wasn't comfortable with playing around Ziggs, right? This video is from, I think, a week ago. It was like day 2 of the patch or day 1 of the patch. I know Ziggs is broken. I said on my patch notes, always try and play Ziggs. It's just that to play Ziggs, I have to unlock him on a neutral round, which I forgot to do because I have to put items on Poppy. It doesn't unlock by putting them on Vayne. So I have to unlock Ziggs in the first place, which I didn't do. And then at the time, I didn't have Ziggs items. So in my head, I was like, I'm just going to play around Zillion, which I have items for. And I'm going to play around the Vayne, which I had items for, and then I'll just keep the Jinzhao in because he scaled the whole game. He still does a stun, he still has HP, he still does damage, he's worthwhile on the board, and it's like good enough, right? But like I said, if you're trying to optimize, the correct solution is you play Ziggs over one of the Demacians. But here, you always want to play 7 Demacia because you have Demacia forever, and they've all been scaling for a really long time. But anyways, this guy's 1-off Nautilus 3, so he could still cap the board with Nautilus. I wasn't sure if he was going for Bel'Veth 3, so I just have a Bel'Veth on my board. And then obviously I have this, I have the Galio that just comes in, which is nice, right? Galio has some extra sauce. And then here, right, Gunblade. I'm barely winning these without that much frontline, so I either need to increase my damage or my frontline, but it's fine. It's because I don't have many frontline items. I have way more damage items, so it makes sense if my frontline collapses a little bit. And then here I'll just roll in case I hit Nautilus 3. Now I'm unsure if I can chew through this Nautilus fast enough before the Gangplank gets to my backline. Because as you saw in those last couple of rounds, from this guy getting Mbessa 2, he was able to chew through the Garen a little bit faster and get to my backline. So now I'm going to put everybody on the opposite side here. Because in my head, I'm like, you know what? This is fine. And then also I'm finally moving items onto Lux. In my head, I'm like, you know what? I think 3 items on Lux is going to be better. Especially if Lux is positioned on opposite side. Get value off of the long shot trait. And just call it a day over here. But you'll notice this fight goes pretty poorly. You'll notice that Swain doesn't die. Swain's going to get a stun off over here. Right? You see the eyeball. This stun hits my entire DPS. So as you can see, everybody gets stunned. Makes the fight really, really hard. Right? I just don't have enough DPS to kill all of these frontline units. And I just lose this fight because of Swain. So this is a bad position. I just can't be on the same side as Swain. Right? So this guy has Gangplank one side, Swain on the other. I lose this fight. It is what it is. But I'm pretty sure, looking at that fight, if I swap back to the left-hand side, I should be able to chew through this Nautilus, I think. Anyways, this last little bit of the video has been dragging on, but that's what happens when 2 people have a lot of HP. Just 2 high rollers, right? Everybody just died too fast in the game. But this favors me, right? We're starting stage 7, which means I have so much Demacia forever value that I should just be able to outcap everybody. Which is fine. And then here, it's like, you know, maybe... See, like, now I would have had Ziggs items, right? So these should all just be Ziggs items. It's probably still play Ziggs. But I just put an extra item on Galio. Maybe gets a cast off and he lives. Who knows? He's been scaling as well. So now we're going to swap sides back. We're basically just go back to this side. We're going to go back to that original positioning with the Lux in the front as well. Or, sorry, with the Vayne in the front as well. Because we're just trying to burst down these enemy units. But we have scaled quite a bit, and Lux does do a lot of damage with 3 items. So we should be stronger, right? Lux, we get the stun off, right? The Galio comes in. This is what I mean, right? Lux on the same side, we should focus fire down. And then with Demacia forever, all my units are super tanky, so the Gangplank just is outclassed. And as you see, we just win this fight. But this is a lot from just Demacia scaling. Now imagine if you played greedy earlier in the game. You lose this game, right? Like the win condition with Demacia forever a lot of times is the game going long enough that you scale up your stats. And if it doesn't go long enough, you just call it a day. This guy's board is really capped. It's really strong, has really good combat augments. But you know, it's fine. It's a first for me. Demacia forever. What can you do? I just clicked the augment that gave me Sona at the start of the game. The only thing I would say, like I said, if you're trying to play this game and recreate it yourselves, Ziggs. Ziggs for sure. Right? I think Ziggs would probably do more damage than Lux and the what's his name? The Zillion. I think it's just that I didn't unlock Ziggs and I didn't feel like I had items for him earlier, right? Because I feel like I had 3 items on Lux. I think right here, like this part is where I should have unlocked Ziggs. Like at this moment. Me not doing it this turn, but if you look at my board, right? I really don't have Ziggs items, right? It kind of looks like Ziggs items because you could just say Gwinsu and the Shiv. But when I was playing the game, I just wasn't familiar enough with how broken Ziggs was. I thought you needed like an AP scaling item. I didn't know how good he was with just attack speed because it was the start of the patch. Now that I know how broken Ziggs is, this is just clearly just shove 3 items on Ziggs, you call it a day. So here you would have to just like use a remover, put 3 items on Poppy, unlock Ziggs, and then play Ziggs over probably Xin Zhao because you should have enough DPS at that point, and then go for Swain 2 and just call it a day with this board, right? And I think Ziggs would be your better cap. But at this point, I wasn't sure in my head, right? And then because I didn't unlock it on neutral round, I'm not gonna sack a round to unlock it here, right? That's the thing. So it's like you needed to do it on the neutral round because you're gonna win the round anyways. But because I didn't do that, then I just commit to this board and I just kind of just didn't do it. That's the major mistake. If I had to take one big mistake takeaway from this, it's definitely optimized around Ziggs, and I think everybody knows that. Like I said, when I played this game, it was earlier in the patch. I wasn't completely familiar with how broken Ziggs was, so that's the main takeaway here. Is just like that over that. And then, you know, you can argue that you get rid of Xin Zhao and you play literally anything else. Like you can play a Shyvana, you can play a Fiddlestick, you can play something else. But I think it's just for the cost that this guy costs, it's very little, and I didn't have my board upgraded. Right, that's the thing. Right, like if I'm getting rid of Xin Zhao and I'm selling it, I didn't have Galio 2, right? I didn't have Swain 2, right? So I don't feel like it's worthwhile to invest in a 5 cost because this 2-star 2 cost is arguably not equally as impactful, but he's close to it because he's been scaling the whole game. He has a lot of extra HP and extra AP and AD. So you might look at it and be like, this guy's an idiot. You should play a 5 cost here. It's like, yeah, but unless it's a 2-star 5 cost, like no item 5 cost, like I'm pretty sure he's almost as good because of how much scaling he got from Demacia forever. Obviously, if I don't have Demacia forever, this guy's gone instantly. But the problem is I don't want to be investing into a 5 cost because I don't even have the Swain and the Galio upgrade. And those are way more important on the board. And that was the main reason there. But of course, you can disagree and you can do something else. That's fine. That's like up for debate. It's more of like a managing my gold type of situation. But anyways, hopefully that was enjoyable. It was a little longer video, but it's first time coming back in a while. So hopefully you had fun. Hope that was a nice Demacia game. Like I said, if you don't have Sona, you just play Lux. Same thing, same game plan. Call it a day. Have a great one. See ya. Bye-bye.